Oh, you know what? Maybe I can, let's do it this way. Do we like it that way or do we like it this way? Hi,
Uh,
everyone.
I like the cinematic, the view this way.
This way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a hot minute since I've done an interview. I always do them live, even though I don't necessarily have an audience, and I know you posted it on Facebook too. So maybe we have some chaos happening. But thanks for stopping on, Griff. What made you want to do this?
Well, Di, I like the spotlight, so uh, it's been 2 years since I got typed, and I just figured maybe I'm kind of embarrassed about the old interviews that I did when I first initially got typed,
Oh
because
yeah.
whenever I go back and watch them, I can see the blah 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 ne go everywhere, and it seems like I'm not making sense throughout the whole time. So I wanted to compare. I wanted to record a video now and compare to my old ones and see if my speaking got any better.
Oh, okay. All right. And they're still up there, right? Like you said before, and like before we started, like in SI history.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
they're
wow,
still up there.
that'll be really neat. So like what do you think you like do you think it's because you got typed or it's just because you got older or what do you think your life would be if you didn't get typed in OP today?
100% certainly think it is because I got typed, because I did not understand blast, or how it worked, or how I was even blast last, or how I had many speaking problems. And then you combine it with ST clarity. So
Mm,
I think, no, just understanding ST being clarity and blast being concise speech directed towards helping someone else understand things is definitely what helped me become a better speaker.
yeah, yeah. What did you not understand about Blast List?
Well,
What did, like or what did you think it was? It sounds like that maybe you thought you were blessed.
yeah, basically, I didn't get trying to understand the other person's perspective before I gave them the information. I would try to give them the
Oh,
information as I understood it, and you know how any works. It's like boom, boom,
yeah,
boom, boom, boom.
yeah,
So
yeah.
whenever I start speaking, I go down this rabbit hole and this rabbit hole and this one, and then I try to tie it together and help them
Right.
understand. But it doesn't work that way for most people. So now I'm just trying to straight directly understand their need and what can they hear.
Right, right, right. It sounds like you were given a consumer report.
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
Right, right, right. Now, I gotta know, like, for you, when you give a consumer report, do you feel weird afterwards?
I feel energized after consumer reporting,
Oh, really? Okay.
but I feel a little sad because I can just see the look on their face. It's just like they don't know.
Right, right.
When you go any all over the place, they have no idea what I'm saying. So I'm just like, man, it's really important to me what I'm conveying right now, and they didn't even take 1% away from it. So
Especially when it's like that feminine any, right? That feminine any at the top is just
yeah, and I got my masculine SI point. I'm like, I want to describe this, but my
right.
understanding of it involves all these things, so I have to go.
Right,
Yeah,
right. You have to give it all. Yeah, I struggle with that a little bit too. Like I struggle with given like the NI of things, right? Like I feel like but it comes for me, it comes from more of a like a having to build up to it almost. Like I'm trying to build the sensory up to give the story. So
yeah.
it's interesting. All right. So where do you want to go next? Do you want to like I want to ask you like what kind of things did this lead to? Like getting like the whole journey. Like tell me about the whole thing. Tell me about like when I met you, you were in the community. That was when you were like an ENTP for a hot minute.
Uh
Do you
huh.
remember that whole thing? That's when I came into the community. That's how I met you.
Okay, so that was around the time you came in. Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So tell me the whole thing. Give me the whole where you've been and how you've come here and what came of it. Give me the
Well,
consumer report.
yeah, if you give me an opportunity to ramble on in consumer report, yeah, no, I'll definitely take it. Well, I basically started realizing that I was an intuitive and not a sensor, even though when you come into OPS, they first tell you, hey,
Mhm.
don't type yourself as intuitive because everyone thinks they're intuitive and most people aren't.
Right.
And so I tried on sensor for a little bit, and it just kept not making sense because I would fumble around in the sensory world so often. Like I'd be at work and I just mess up the simplest sensory task and everything. that was about around right before I got type, and I was considering what could I be, what could I be.
Mm.
So quickly after that, joining the community, everyone was pressuring me, get type, get type. You know, I'm blast lasting it. Like I'm in no rush to get typed, but everyone was begging me. And I
Right.
guess my savior play was going crazy because I was definitely bonking on people's heads like, hey, what do you think I could be? What do you think? Can I be this? Can I be this? Da, 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 da.
Right.
Just annoying people. So I finally got typed, and really, I mean, I'm still a chaos monkey. There's no doubt about it. I still am always going to cause chaos. I'm always going to notice the NF vibe. Always going to crack jokes whenever I get the chance. Maybe inappropriate humor. That's always a part of me. I think really what has just helped me with understanding the type is getting my routine down because I've always been routine oriented, but I didn't know just how bad I would update it. So I can stick to a routine because I got the masculine SI and the masculine sleep. But
Mm-hmm.
it's always going to be changing. So what I tried to do was just make the most solid routine I could, even if it was a little sloppy, and just
Uh-huh.
consistently stick to it, even on a
Yeah.
low level. Consistency over perfection, because I'm a huge perfectionist. You know, like the picky consumers who go and leave reviews like, "Oh, this product was trash," because
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
yelling at the blaster who provided it, just being ungrateful. I'm
Right.
pretty much like that. I'll spot flaws everywhere, every 2 seconds. I'm like, oh, this was wrong, this was bad, this was da da da. So now I'm just trying to, instead of being such a perfectionist, just have some sort of consistency, and that's what the type has really led me to. Aside from the clear speaking, like
Mm-hmm.
everyone loves their third animal, it's their hobby animal.
Right.
So for me,
Right.
I'm definitely obsessed with my sleep animal, especially because it's double masculine. That's why
Yeah.
I'm always gonna fight for it.
Right.
So I just use the blast last as a way to improve speaking, improve other people's needs, maybe get people on board with my mission because I'm very passionate about the things I do in life, and I want a team with me. I want people to do it with me. Shan said in my audio when I got typed that the best kinds of leaders are able to show their vulnerabilities and get more people recruited on their team that way. Because as a
Mm-hmm.
DI team throne, I want to act like Mr. Perfect, and I don't have many people recruited.
So
So I
now
just started. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to know though, like you went by that really quick on how you stuck to consistency and not, even though it wasn't perfect. What kept you on there? Because like, I mean, staying with a consistent habit, I mean, even you would think that me save your sleep, SI masculine, I would be able to stick to routine and I can't even do it. What helped you to stick to a routine?
When you have the masculine inner world, you just beat on yourself until you get something right. So I mean, I hear
Mm,
from the gurus that I suck at routine, and I get a little self hatred about it, almost like just beat up myself until I get it right. Until
mm.
I get it right. So aside from that, really a practical way I actually implemented it was I started using whiteboards more,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I figured out a couple parameters to track on my whiteboards. Not many, because if I track too many, then the consistency would fall, and then just
Okay.
enough that it's exciting enough every week that I can hit my the goals that I'm tracking. So I just put a
Yeah.
couple goals on a whiteboard, and every week I try to get those written down, and that is in the sensory provable that I did that. Like if I
Okay.
can just write it down and prove that it's in reality, and then share it with my tribe because I send those whiteboards every week to my people, and I'm like, here's how I did for
Oh.
the week, so
Oh.
if I did good or if I did bad this week.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. And I love how you said you kept it simple. Like if you knew that if there were too many things, it would fall. You
Yeah,
knew
it's
you
happened
had
a
to
couple
keep
times.
it small. You had to keep it small. That's that's really good. That's
And
really
then
good.
along that same line, though, the next thing that's similar to that I implemented was I rate myself on a 1 to 10 scale. How hard was it to do this? So, like working out, even I've been working out for a while, but I haven't been consistent. So I've been working out since like age 15, but I'll take off weeks or sometimes off
Mm,
months. I'm always getting back in and out the gym. The way I
mm-hmm.
finally started rectifying that was using that 1 to 10 scale. And if I'm going at if I'm working out at the 8, 9, or 10 hard, that's going to keep me out the gym next week because I went too hard. But that's my propensity because I always like to push myself, and I
Right.
get in that zone. So I try to avoid the 8, 9, and 10. I do that every
Uh-huh.
once in a while, and then I also try to avoid the 1, 2, and 3 because that's basically like I'll start to feel like I ain't good enough, or like what kind of you can't do a level 4, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
4 to 7 is my range, and that's helped me with consistency too.
So when do you score yourself on that?
So that's actually an interesting question. Like people, they have a hard time when I convey that to them, like because Sometimes it's during the exercise, sometimes it's
Mm,
after the whole entire workout. Sometimes
mm.
it's 2 days later when I realize that I've been so sore. I'm like, oh yeah, my legs are a little too beat up. So I take all these variables into account and add them together in like a total score. And so soreness during the workout, after the workout, and everything else like that. It all plays into the score.
What I'm hearing you say, though, is you're constantly checking in with yourself. You're checking in to make sure that, like, hey, where am I? I know that I need to be in this range, and so I need to check it. You at least know you have to check in with yourself to see where you're at, and then you adjust. That's crazy. That's amazing. Guess
That's the
it's that
thing about
SF masculine sleep. Go
yeah.
ahead.
And I sometimes have wondered if I had like savior sleep. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't really think so, but even to this day, what I really do consider is that sleep and play are so balanced that
Yeah.
it's kind of irrelevant. You know, it's irrelevant. Both of those have caused issues in my life, and both of those I've used in good to make my life better. You know, it's the
Yeah.
consumer blast that where I really struggle on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, what what's the biggest advice then that you would give to somebody who just got typed?
I would definitely say use the tool. Don't let the tool use you.
Oh, go into the consumer part on that one too. I want to hear more about that.
Typology. It's just such a rabbit hole, and people end up getting really freaked out by it, and it becomes a supreme worldview that affects every waking moment of their life. And for the most part, that stuff is one of the most useful tools you could possibly use. You know what I mean? But there
Mhm.
becomes a line. You could pass the line if you're obsessing over it and worrying over the little nuances, like how I just said, oh, my play and sleep are so balanced. If I were to be like,
Mm,
oh, am I save your sleep? I don't care, bro. Like,
mm,
that's not where I'm gonna be stuck. Like,
mhm.
I feel like people they get one little coin off, or they're worried about their animals, and
Yeah.
they're not focusing on the big picture, the important stuff. Of course, I'm gonna preach with my savior overview and importance with the values. But
Right. Yeah.
so use that as a tool, and don't let the tool use you, because if you're gonna spend that much brain power on something like this, it could end up hurting you or helping you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember when you started realizing really, oh, that's how I'm imbalanced with the consume and the blast?
That's what's amazing about type, is that you get mini realizations along the
Yeah.
way with a couple big spurts here and there.
Yeah. Do you
But
remember a
even to
couple of
this day,
the
well, yeah, I think speaking to some double observers in the community, it's funny because in the community, the people that I've been drawn towards and that have been drawn towards me, they're always
Mhm.
decider and savior ST. So I'm observer and savior NF. So it's like we
Huh.
go together.
Yeah.
And it's always those ST deciders that really have shown me uh, where I'm struggling with blast. They show me how
Oh.
my communication is being misinterpreted. They show me how I'm lost up in space and I'm not coming back down to focus on reality. All these things,
Mm.
just simple little things. There have been moments here and there, but some have been big, some have been small. And I think mostly I can attribute it. I'm gonna sound like a decider here. I think it's the people that have shown me the most.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And I mean that is NT play too, right? Like that's you're having others help you with the understanding,
Oh yeah, yeah,
right?
big time.
Right? Right? Um was there any moment where you felt like, you know, I don't know. I always see you posting like really like you, it seems to be that you really get into like even like the Jordan Peterson stuff and like it just seems like this is really I don't know if you knew that before OPS or if like you get those ideas from like videos that they do. Like how has this like sort of like expanded the web for you?
Well, I feel like I it's kind of the opposite of what you might expect.
Okay.
Before I
Perfect. I
came
love
in,
surprises. Oh, that
before
was a peacock.
all right, so I'm about to make you nervous with the any.
Hmm, go ahead.
Basically, basically before I would like look up the super punishing self-growth people like the David Goggins, like, oh, you got to be relentless about it. You ain't nothing if you don't work hard every day, all day. Because I knew that that's what I needed as a blast to kind of get a kick in the pants and get started. But I didn't know I was blast. So this was before typing. But I just, you know how you just kind of know, but you don't really know typology?
Yeah.
But since coming around, I think the way it's opened up for me is understanding self-forgiveness and, you know, putting on the brakes. That's like when I told you about the 1 to 10 scale, I used to work at an 8, 9, or 10 level all the time. Then I'd burn out.
Yeah.
I think really consistency is more important for me than hard work, which I would never accept that. You know, I would always think, oh, if I just do more, it's like this is how you know I am a play saver. It's like do more, and then you'll get what you want. But that never worked for me because I burned out. So understanding this stuff had really given me more self-forgiveness and more slowing down, getting more meticulous with it, getting the details down, and that's how that web opened up for me. Is that along the lines of what you were getting at, or is there some more?
Yeah. No, give me more.
All right. I think the perfectionism thing from the consuming and the masculine inner world, it's almost like what they preach with the most of the motivational guys, you know, a lot of the David Goggins, especially the David Goggins type people. I mean, that's an extreme example, but there are people like that who are always preaching that. For me, it really has been about slowing down. So it's kind of the opposite of what I learned before, you know. And the blast last, you would think, oh, we don't get things accomplished, so we need to focus on how to do more. But I think the reason I got stuff done less was because I was so hard on myself. Especially I'm learning that from y'all masculine DEs. Y'all really have shown me in this community that self-forgiveness is everything. And it's not the end of the world when you mess up with someone else. Like, I'm a double decider, but I'm so hard on myself that if I mess up with you, like right now, if I were to leave a bad impression on you after this interview, I'd go away thinking, man, I'm the worst person ever.
Oh wow.
I just ruined the vibe with Kelly. I don't think it's for good because double decider, I always think I can bounce back. But for the moment being, I'll be sitting there in my room just like locked up, just in a prison in my head.
And I think that's what's so amazing, that how you just described that, about how, you know, you would not think that with Blast Last, that you're not getting stuff done and being hard on yourself. And I think that is I'm so glad you said that, because like I think that's where a lot of people get mixed up too, right? And they get so focused on what, you know, the surface level is saying, that they're not seeing underneath of like, what can you really learn from this, right? It's interesting. Why did you say the masculine DEs, they taught you forgiveness? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. I have a blind spot there. I need to understand what you mean there.
The harsh inner world of a masculine DI is a nightmare place to live. So
okay. Gotcha.
It's like the reason that no one could ever come close to harming me with their words, or even maybe physically. I'm a tough guy, but mostly with words and stuff, because I'm already in my head saying 200 times worse than you ever could have said. So that kind of ruins relationships for me, because if I mess up with you, then I start thinking I'm terrible, and then I want to withdraw. I want to disconnect.
Yeah.
Instead of believing that you're going to give me the forgiveness, because masculine DEs, they would tell me, hey, you deserve forgiveness for this. And I'm over here still stuck. Like, no, I don't. I'm terrible. They're like, stop beating yourself up. You deserve this self-forgiveness right now. So then I finally, like, man, even now it's really hard to see that, but I try to just roll with it, you know, just stop double checking my reality, because I could do that all day with the NE, but masculine DE, it's paired with the feminine the feminine DI. So that's why the masculine DE has shown me that. Especially because they're the ones who will be direct with you about it. They're like, hey, you're doing it again. You're beating yourself up.
Right. Yeah. In fact, actually, along those lines, have you seen yourself like doing too much double deciding?
I don't know. I don't think so, because I do kind of hold grudges. I don't know if it's a masculine FI, and if someone has crossed me, that's
Mm-hmm.
that bridge is burned. You know, like, I don't give many
Mm-hmm.
second chances. But I think you're talking about too much double deciding. I think it's up till the point, like, until they get that bridge burned, until that they're cut off for good, I will keep giving them chances. I'll probably give someone like
Oh,
100 chances before I get to that point. So that's
right.
probably, yeah.
That's
That's
probably
where
where it
double
is.
deciding mixed with feminine DE, and that's where the
Yeah.
cat energy will come out. It's like, all right, I've tried, and now we've gone through this 100 times, so now you're done for good.
Right. And then it's really done. It's like done forever. It's just something I've noticed a lot lately. It seems like that I started to talk to you about this. It just seems like sometimes like the double deciders are like almost to the point where I'm like, well, why aren't we not talking about this right now? Because, you're like, oh, you're just having a bad day. It's fine. You're just having a bad day. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I actually have an opinion I want to share. I'm not just having a bad day. It's just funny, and I wonder what do you see? Do you see double observers doing too much double observing?
Well, the only yeah, I've thought about this. The way I see that is how like, I'll preach to you about my routine all day. I'll be like, health is
Yeah.
important, so you need to control your health parameters. I feel like double observers are like, you know, I don't need to work on a routine.
Right.
It's like they're so chill about things. They don't realize, if you don't get your health right, you might cancer, all these observer fears. You might have all that
Yeah.
stuff come happen to you. So you need to at least take some more control over it. And they're like, I'll worry about it later. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. So that's where I see double observers being too chill about the observations.
Yes, exactly. I feel like it's like this thing where it's like we always talk about like the single having the problem, right? Like the single decider, the single observer having the problem. And it's like that exactly what you said. It's like even though they might be like the single observer might be like making it too far into conspiracy mode, like there is a certain level of like, hey, actually there's a danger here that
Yeah.
you are being too blasé about. This is not just okay. I think it's really important to have both kind of people in your life. So I'm looking at my questions, and you kind of answered a whole bunch of them already. Oh, what's some of the biggest surprises that you came across in these last 2 years since getting your OPS type back?
Man, well, I think we covered basically a lot of the recent ones and the most
Mm-hmm.
important ones about the self-forgiveness, the consistency over the work harder, surprises. And you know what I think is surprising about
Mm,
OP is that like, take me for example, I got human need gather, but I got masculine organized at the bottom. So I see
mm,
myself as the IJ. I literally do. Like, I know, like, I know, because I have enough perspective to see from the outside world that I am the guy running around flipping the chessboard, causing chaos, telling jokes, inappropriate things.
right,
I can
right.
see that that's me. But the way I view myself, I'm the IJ. I'm responsible to control all the kids. Oh, she probably doing too much double observing. Too chill with the. All right, let's see what's going on with that.
Are you there?
Yes, you're too chill with the observer stuff.
Oh, right. Like so. Case in point. Can
Oh,
you?
but you're invisible now.
Yeah, I know. I have to fix my camera. I think it got That's a stream. All right, we're gonna have to do me without camera, but you can hear me. I'm gonna figure out the camera. You're gonna tell a story, and I'm gonna figure out
Okay,
the.
I'm beautiful in DI, so
Yeah, yeah. Tell me a me story, man. I love. Actually, I want to talk about the. I feel like you and I have really connected a lot of times on the masculine SF. I want to. How have you seen that masculine SF, feminine NT play out in your life?
basically I will knock someone out. Now, it's funny because I just recently got called out on the Facebook group. Everyone's like, you look skinny. You look like you run your mouth, but you can't fight. I'm like, I got offended. Like that almost made me want to fight then and there.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's what I do is I just am very physically aggressive. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Yeah. I was figuring
We
out while
we
you were
can make
telling
it
your
fair.
story.
You take
Telling
me off for a little bit.
what?
Make it fairsies and take me off for a little bit.
Okay. How do you turn off your camera then? Here, well, solo layout. There you go. Go ahead, talk.
Okay.
There's the Pharisees. You tell me to do Pharisees, I have to comply.
Yeah. We can make you. Let's turn this around. Let's ask you some questions.
You want to? Go ahead.
Well, how long have you been typed?
A little over a year. My
Okay, when's
type
your
date was actually a palindrome, 12/2/21.
12/2/21? Okay,
Yeah.
so we just missed your type
Yeah.
anniversary.
Yeah. I put up a video about it.
Oh, I wasn't a good consumer. I didn't see it.
No. No. In fact, though, but that's not really consume, right? That would be
Play,
I think
right?
so, right? Well, I guess it would be playing your still play savior.
Yeah, not a good player.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm loyal.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. So, wow, how have we gotten through like all of my questions only a half an hour in?
Because when you don't give specifics, you give all overview. You can answer questions in half the time.
You crazy and savior you. Um I also didn't give the little overview of like our putting our types side by side. Um but yeah. You just seem so chill right now, but still more solid. Like I like when I met you, you seemed like really chill, but like really laid back chill. You still seem very chill, but like something more solid about you. And I don't know if it's maybe the blast is getting more solid. Do you feel that, or do you not? You must see that. You must see that you're getting more solid.
I think I don't know if this is what you're seeing, but I think it is. Well, I don't know. I don't know how you see this, but I'm really the reason I feel solid is because I'm doing less observer freaking out lately. Or when they
Oh,
come,
really?
I'm getting through them quicker because I have
Oh,
someone close to me who's in my quadra that really I've been doing a lot of work with on understanding how to double observe and how to just stop freaking out. So, you want to know what it's like to be an observer? Literally 24/7. You like the conspiracies. You think there's something missing. You think someone's hiding something from you. You think there's secrets. You think there's lies, and that it's so pervasive in my mind that I almost can't even get on top of that. I can't even understand how bad it is, but I know now. I'm always looking for it. All right, that person's hiding something. That person's a liar. That person I can't trust. This there's definitely something missing. What's missing from this? I'm like there's always just 24/7, and then my NE's going crazy, coming up with the worst of the worst possibilities ever. So I think what I'm trying to do right now is like if someone has shown you over time that they have good character,
yeah.
then you can kind of you can kind of just put the worries to the side a little bit, and you actually can trust. The reason I have not been solid is because I'm going through life with no trust, no faith in humanity, no faith in even the things. I'm always freaking about, oh, you never know tomorrow I could die. Oh, it's so scary. But right now I'm like,
Right.
I'm seeing likelihoods more than just possibilities. And I think when you bring back likelihoods and you actually start to trust the world and you start to feel a little safer, you know. I got poisoned. Somebody had poisoned me randomly because I trusted too quick. Now that was an example of where I was trying to work on the trust, but I didn't put in the sensory behind it. You know, I just went, met somebody, trusted them, got poisoned. Now it's like if you meet people, put in the sensory reps to get to know them over time, you start to really see that that there's no reason to conspirize against them and think, oh, they're hiding something from me, this, that, they're going to do something bad. So you can actually get to that point with people and with reality in general where you're not just tweaking all the time.
Yeah, I heard you say likelihood versus possibility. It sounds like probability versus possibility, right? Like you're like, yeah, it's possible that could happen, but probably not.
Yeah, because when I first started that whole likelihood and the probability,
Yeah.
no matter how many times I repeated that in my head, and no matter it'll make sense, it'll make complete sense, and I'll tell myself over and over. Still, somehow my programming will find a way to override that, even though it makes perfect sense. I'm like, nah, because there has to be something missing. There has to be something extra going on. So
Yeah.
now it's like, it's more of a matter of it making logical sense and repeating it to yourself. It's more like you have to, in your core, kind of just ignore the freak out that's going on in the background
Yeah.
and just look at reality more so than the loudness of the conspiracy. Because the way I try to do it is I'll be like, will I be worried about this tomorrow? Will I be worried about this next week? Will I be worried about this in a month? And when I look into the future far enough, I'm like, everything that I've had, that every time I've freaked out this hard in the past, later on, I've always gotten through it. And typically it's gotten better. So I think using my pattern recognition skills in favor of reducing the observer conspirizing
Yeah.
is the only thing that's helped me.
Yeah. Now, do you find that like you'll catch yourself in the moment, or you'll catch it kind of like when you were talking about the working out, right? Like, is it like that too, where sometimes you catch yourself in the moment or afterwards, or like at different points where you're like, wait a minute, I'm freaking out about this, or like, or you have the freak out, but then you get over it faster. Like, talk to me about how that, when it happens and how it's been getting better.
I wish I was more of a narrowed down blaster because I can answer in two different directions. Like,
Oh, answer in both. Let's go down path A first.
you got the state
Okay.
of mind that you're in that really affects it. So if I'm in the moment tweaking, chemicals are flowing, it's far less likely to get on top of that because of the state. Now then I go, let's say, take a walk, get some sunlight, eat some salmon for the omega-3s. You start stacking, drink your water, you do all that stuff. Then your state might be changing. Or even put in some music and then, jam out,
Yeah.
get in your masculine SF mode a little bit, get it all out.
Yeah.
So state change can really help you because after the state has changed, then you look back on the freak out and you're like, ooh. And that's where the kind of the self-punishing comes in. I'm like, oh, I'm a terrible person. I just messed up again. I just start winning the secret mode and I caused decider problems. So you start tweaking out about that. Then path B is you can't always rely on your damn state because I feel like people use state as an excuse half the time. Like if you need to be in a certain state to achieve something at all times, bro, you will never get anything done. Like if I have to be happy to go do my chores, bro, who's ever gonna be happy about doing your chores? Or like, if we're talking decider issues, who's ever gonna be happy during struggle with someone that you care about? When you just messed up with them because your observer brain had made you believe that they're hiding something from you. You said that to them, they're like, wow, they're offended. Like, I would never do that to you. Why are you accusing me yet again? This is the 50th time, and we've proven 49 times in a row that I would never do this.
Right.
So I had to get over the state thing. Had to be like, all right, whatever the state is, I just got to look at what's logical. I got to see reality for what it is, and I just got to move past it. So that's the A and B. It's like you can use states, and you don't have to. So maybe that's something to do with empathy balance, just like double deciding.
Yeah. Like you can lean into the state. You can, but you have to understand the state. You have to understand that you're in a different state, right? And then, whether or not you push through it in that state or not is up to you. But you have to recognize it.
Yeah, big time.
That's so crazy that how similar your issues are to observer issues and decider issues at the end of the day are all like ultimately the same thing because we all have to deal with people and things, right?
They so go hand in hand because it's just at the end of the day you're missing half of a certain board, and the biggest consequences it's going to happen with people more than things. Even observers would tweak about things, but I think the observer freakouts are more consequential with people because if like you, if I were to come at you and really start thinking, what are you hiding, Kelly, all the time?
Right.
It's like eventually you're gonna get sick of me. Like, dude, I've proven to you I'm not hiding nothing. So
right.
the relationship issues from single observing are pretty much just as bad, maybe worse in some instances than single deciding.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm happy with the type that I'm in. Have you did you always agree with what type you got, by the way? I know you said the play and sleep thing, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I opened the email and I was like, I hope it's something different. I open it. Oh, of course. As soon as I seen those bubbles, NEFI, I'm like, what else could it have been? So from the get-go, I knew that this was right.
Yeah. What do you think about all the retypings happening?
Retypings. Well, I think people shouldn't have ever really put in so much stock in the first place, like
Yeah.
into one type. Like me, I knew that mine was this, but I also am understanding that this is within a context of a
Mhm.
system, you know, and that it's not a perfect system.
Mhm.
The typing process is not perfect. So the fact that there's so many flaws around this, you can't get that wrapped up. And also, dude, it don't matter. Are you blast last, consume last? It don't. You need to be working on blast. You need to be working on consume. You need to work
Mm.
on every animal. You need to work on N, T, S, and F. Have a good understanding of what those four things are. Understand the modalities and how having a certain modality could shape you, and try to balance yourself out in all ways. You don't even need to know your type to do this. You just need to know the system. If you know the system and you don't even have a clue of a type, you could just start to begin to piece to really have a firm understanding on all these things, and then work on yourself in all directions. So I think a retyping, like it is pretty unfortunate for people who didn't understand that
Mhm.
with all the flaws and they didn't work on the system in general.
Mhm.
I think this is just a good lesson for people in general. Maybe they just need to stay vigilant about things like that and not. But this is my NE speaking. Don't buy into one worldview so hard, you know.
Right. Now, with that in mind, like what is the biggest misconception you think there are about some of the animals? Like, and you can go, like, I know we were talking about blast versus consume before. Like, are there any like misconceptions you see about like how people describe how an animal plays out and how it's actually working and how you can balance it?
Hmm. I think what comes to mind immediately is I see this more so with the modalities. You know, people be like, oh, like take Shan, she's blast last, but she's masculine blast. Well, she's
Mm-hmm.
blast last, but since it's masculine, she it's pretty much like a savior. It's like
Mm.
you got savior and demon states. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Masculine and feminine states is another thing. That's a whole different. It's like the X and the Y axis of,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So people got to really break down. You got to go piece by piece. I learned this typing because I've been in the cognitive resolution,
Mm-hmm.
and our team when we were typing, which Shan called us out on, we were kind of going by the coins. We were like, oh, this is NE. She's like, well, technically, NE is two different pieces. You got OE
Mm.
and you got N over S. You know.
Right.
So I think people like they really don't understand where the boundary ends between these things. So if you talk about NE, you don't know what about that is associated with OE and what is associated with N. So by the time you break it down, you know you're mixing understandings. So I think that happens with
Yeah.
the animals in general. See, I gave you an
Yeah.
overview example. You want a specific animal combination that I was seeing it with, but yeah, I think
Whatever
it's
you
all over.
see, like if you have any, I think you really have a really good understanding of this stuff, man. Like I know, like you even like I love when you post those things about. I know it's just like NT play, right? But it's like you post your little labels on each of the things, or we like
Oh
map
yeah,
it to like the chakras or whatever, right? I think you have a real good interesting understanding of how like all of these pieces work. So I just any thoughts you have on how people are maybe seeing it wrong, but you don't necessarily ever get a chance to say it. I want you to say it.
yeah. Well,
Give an N overviews like
I think we were briefly touching on this, and then I think we had observer issues. You know,
oh yeah.
the introverted inner world is what you really see yourself as, or even I don't know if it's I don't know exactly. Is it the masculines? Is it the introverted stuff? I mean, there's something there. Like how I see myself as the IJ.
Mm,
So people will get their type back. I've seen this lately. They'll get their type back and they're like, oh, flabbergasted. I ain't even nowhere near this type. I'm this. And
right.
it'll be like their introverted function that they think is their savior. It'll be their masculine animal that they think is their first animal. You know, this happens all
Mm-hmm.
the time. So you
Yeah.
got to notice like we are masculine. Oh, I had observer issues. You got to notice your masculine and your
Yeah.
introverted functions are probably what you're going to identify with more than what you actually are on a spectrum. But if you put yourself, line up 1,000 people
Yeah.
in a row, you
Mm-hmm.
have to really see where you're at in the line. That's how
Yeah.
I literally use that example to understand why I am the NEFI because I'm like,
Yeah.
put 1,000 people in the room. Who's who's the joker, who's the funny guy, who's the telling inappropriate humor. Oh, I'm probably doing that more than like 800 people in the room, you know. So
Right.
even though I identify as the SIIJ, I'm the Army drill sergeant. I'm gonna tell you what to do. Wash your dishes, get your health routine, you know.
Right.
Da,
'Cause
da,
that's what
da.
you're telling yourself. That's what you're saying to yourself all day long.
Yes. Exactly. Of
And
course, I'm
that's
gonna
why
see
it's
it like that.
right, and that's why it is the introverted functions. Yeah, that's funny. Did you know that you were extroverted? No, you're not extroverted. You're introverted.
Yeah,
Why did
I'm
I say
one
that
click to the
even?
left on the
Yeah.
introverted,
Mhm. Yeah.
which that's a whole nother thing. I definitely disconnect and run
Mhm.
away as the solution to problems. So if you're causing
Mhm.
me an issue, I'm less likely to talk it out with you than I am to just get pull back to my own bubble. This is my safe zone, you know. I mean, I'm pretty balanced there. I'm ambiverted, so I can see easily how
Yeah.
to deal with both sides. But technically, I have seen the introvertism play out in my life where I'm always the answer is disconnect, maybe end the friendship,
Right.
or just go have my own personal space. So when I'm hanging out with these extroverts and they're showing me that it's okay to talk things out, it's okay to kind of reveal a little bit of that deep, dark inner world and get through it with someone,
Mhm.
hey, that's the way. And it's been working. So I'm kind of convinced that, you know, running away and resorting to your introverted world isn't always the answer anymore.
Wow. Yeah. I'm gonna jump for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
How has this past year been different than like 1 year out from getting your type back?
I think in the first year, you get the
Uh-huh.
base, you start to see like, okay, I'm going to be weird about things and chill with people. Like you get that, at least for
Mm.
me. Of course, I got it on an overview sense. So I was really like, I didn't really know how it would specifically manifest though. And
Mm.
now, yeah, now I'm definitely seeing so when I first got my audio back, Shan was like, hey, your type, she's like, by the way, your type is going to be tripping over the 5G network. Your type typically has conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So just watch out for that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I understand that. I get that. I'm technically prone. I'm at risk for being a conspiracy theorist,
Mhm.
but I'm not one.
Right.
As of right now, I'm not one. I don't see it.
Mhm.
There's nothing I'm conspirizing about right now. Maybe
Yeah.
I get a little too. I'm a little weird about health, and I'll push health more than 800 people in the room, you know.
Mhm.
But now, shit, when you talk about EPs and their secrets,
Mhm.
the year two, the second year of getting typed, I start to
Yeah.
see, oh, secrets
Oh,
bug me. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
yeah. Right.
I always think someone's up to something. I always think there's something hidden. And I'm starting to see specific examples that are ruining relationships, like
Mm.
the social game. I'll start to see social connections. I'll be like, oh, you and that person are against me. And it's like, what? We're both on your side. So I'm starting
Right.
to see the conspiracy brain though. Year one, I got that was what I'm prone to. Year two, I'm starting to see specifically how I am doing that.
Oh, that's so funny. There's another example of like where you're like, oh, those two people, they're against me, right? Like I used to have a similar problem where like, oh, they're talking about me behind my back, right? But it definitely did have like more of a decidery kind of slant to it. It wasn't so much the missing information. It was like they're talking about me behind my back. You know what I mean? Or they're leaving me out because they don't want me in the room because they don't like me, you know? Um,
Yeah,
which is
yeah
that's
seen that with deciders.
yeah, that's funny. Wow.
That's what never made sense to me. Like even though we're both worried about the people, you're over there like they're talking about me. Like so what?
Right.
Let them talk about me. You know, like it's a good thing they're talking about you, even if it's bad things. All publicity is good publicity. But then I'm
Right,
like,
right,
but the thing is, you don't know what they're hiding. You don't know what they're up to.
right,
They may be plotting your downfall.
right. But then you know that. And so then that's where it becomes like what they talk about being the 5G network. That was your 5G network. That was just their like SE version of an example of how to explain this hiding of secrets, this
Yeah,
thing going on underneath the surface, right?
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
wow. So what else have you been getting into? Have you gotten into any other, like I know a bunch of people got into Enneagram. Did you get into anything else? Is this or is this really like you're diving into your routine and stuff?
Yeah, I'm trying to I'm trying to get away from the internet stuff in general. I'm trying to maybe live
Yeah.
more in person. Maybe
Mm,
I've lived my social life on the internet for the past couple of years, and it's it's great. I've met some great people, but really I can count on one hand like real solid people that I would that I know would die for me and that I might take a bullet for them, on the internet. And
mhm.
that ratio doesn't really increase when you go socialize in person, but I don't know. I'm just trying to live more in the moment, more grounded than just on my phone all day. Because I'm prone. I'll hop on Discord, spend a couple hours. I'll freaking go on Facebook, scroll. It's memes, it's TikToks, it's all this stuff that I'm always doing. And I'm like, what would life be like if I went out and socialized? If I went and hung out with my friends more and just started giving. Because I'm a greedy consumer. I'll be take, and on the internet it's easy. Scroll, take, scroll, take. People they
Mm,
interact with you. They like my vibe, so they'll come interact with me. But in person, I'm finding it's like I have to go out and I have to spend my resources, my time, and my
mm,
effort on people more. Because easy to move a finger a couple inches over and over and over. Yeah, you got to get your whole body to go see
right.
someone. Spend your whole
Yeah.
resources to buy things for them and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, you're more aware of it because you're physically having to go do the thing. So now you're up and you're doing the thing.
Yeah,
So have you done that? Have you done more of that, or is this something you've been contemplating?
yeah. I've been going to church groups. I've been hanging out at my friends' houses. A lot of them they get a little drunk, which I'm not opposed to, but I'm a health nerd, so I pretty much stick to like a 2 drink limit. But I
Mm.
go out and I hang with them. It don't matter however often I can. I'm trying to get some social time in the gym too. So my brother, we just moved in together, so we start going to the gym together,
Oh
start
yeah,
cooking together. So I think just that's the ways I've been doing that.
doing the things together.
Yeah, DE,
Play
right?
savior, DE. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm DE savior, but I'm not doing the things together. Um, like
Yeah.
how far down on my stack is that? Oh, do you like? This is a crazy question. Um, how much do you find, like I'm gonna get nerdy for a second here, like, do you find the animals or the letters are playing out for you more? Like, do you find that, like, you'll do consume this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Do you find you'll do the consume, but different types of consume? Like, maybe you'll do, like 'cause you have NT second, like, maybe you'll do NT consume before you'll do, ST blast.
Hmm. I haven't really thought about it like that, to be honest. I think, yeah, I don't know. I had an any jump, but I don't want to channel change too
Oh,
far.
yes, please do it. Please.
But that reminded me of it.
Please do it.
I think the way it plays out for me is modalities
Uh-huh.
and then single observing. Maybe are the two biggest. Maybe if I had to narrow it down, those are the two biggest things that I'm noticing. Like single
Yeah.
observing has definitely ruined my life in many more ways than I can count. And I'm
Mhm.
starting to see that. And I
Yeah.
think it's because of the way the process goes. Like you said, oh, do you go to NT before you get to the NT consume before ST blast? Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. I just know everything gets filtered down through single observing. And that's what starts
Mm.
messing everything up. But everything also gets filtered through my modalities. Like,
Mm.
yeah, I
Yeah, tell
really
me more
feel
about that. What do you mean by filtered through your modalities? Because of the masculine sleep, or because of where the letters are masculine? Like what about the modalities?
it's definitely the masculine sleep.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, it's the masculine SF too. It's like I am going to punish myself until I take the role of moving the sensory and figuring out the priorities. And if I'm the king who can figure out the priorities and help other people by moving the sensory for them and with them,
Mhm.
then that's my role. That's what I get done. So everything is centered around that. Can I get the priority? Can I help other people get the priority? Can I move the sensory? Oh, someone needs help. They can't open the pickle jar. I mean, that's a silly, stupid example. Can I open the
Yeah.
pickle jar for them? All my self-worth revolves around being able to move that stuff for them. And yeah.
Right. And then how is that then filtering through the single observing?
Because okay. How's it filtered through the single observing? Like I said, with the whole conspirizing and the secrets and the missing info, that's just 24/7. No matter who I'm talking to, it could be my best friend of 20 years. Literally, I started seeing that with some of my longest friendships. I'm still doing it to them sometimes. I'm still such a conspiracy theorist that even when people don't deserve single observing against them, I'm putting that on them. And so I think when you combine that with the modalities, it's your role in life. You are playing a certain role, and maybe sometimes you're aware of it, maybe sometimes you're not. You're damn sure not aware of how deep it goes, because you might know psychology and personality theory, but you don't know exactly every little crevice of where it's affecting your life. But that's why I brought up something simple like a pickle jar. I'm the guy who has to open the pickle jar. That's a silly, random example in life, in everyday life. But everything in my life gets filtered through that, because that's who I am. That's the role I have to play. And if I don't play that, I'm the biggest failure in the world. Says me, because I'm always beating myself up.
Right. Now, do you see anybody else doing those types of things that, like, say, like, maybe are opposite to what you are, like whether maybe they're feminine sleep, or maybe they're consume less? Like, I'm not trying to tell you to talk about me. I'm just saying, like, is there something like, that you see others doing that you're like, oh, that's so obvious, like, oh my God.
Yeah, maybe you'll relate to this. I'm not sure, because I have more experience with masculine TE than masculine FE.
Okay.
But I see the masculine DE is what I assume it is. So quick to just, and it's also, a lot of them are associated with EJ-ness. So I think EJ plus masculine DE, which you also have.
Yeah.
Y'all would jump into the fire because someone's burning. I'm like,
what?
You can't save this person. They're about to die. Like, you're gonna get ripped to shreds if you jump in the fire and try to pull them out. You ain't a trained fireman. Like, I swear, it's like someone's struggling, they gotta immediately jump in, and they don't even care. They don't even think about what the cost is gonna be, what the consequences is gonna be, how upset they're gonna get afterwards. It's like all my masculine DE EJ friends are having this issue, and it's like me. I'm sitting back chilling, and I know I'm kind of selfish. I know that they might be like, "Why aren't you jumping in to help me?" I'm like, "I'll help, but we gotta, let's think about this for 2 seconds, then we can come at it."
Right. That's so funny too, because on the surface, one might say through, the eyeballs of that said, masculine DEEJ, it's like, well, then how is it that you're pushing on yourself? And you're pushing on yourself because you have to take care of yourself. Like, that masculine DEEJ is just like completely forgetting to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, wait a minute too, like that person there, that they can't be saved. And you don't even have the skills to save them.
Exactly, because you have to know how much of a threat you are. Because masculine DE, they're scanning how much is that person a threat? How much is that person a threat? I'm like, how much of a threat are you? So when you jump into the situation, are you going to get pulverized, or are you enough to come in and solve things?
Right. That's crazy. Oh man. Well, I know you said you wanted to do like a 2-year type in video. Was there anything we didn't touch on that you wanted to talk about?
2-year type in video. Anything I wanted to touch on?
I feel like I have not, exercised my interview skills in a while, so I'm like running out of questions here.
Oh, you did wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's been good. I've had a good time answering these questions genuinely. So
Yeah.
I don't know. There's nothing really. I mean, I probably could if you gave me enough time. I'll go anywhere with this whole typing thing. I think. Let me touch on the whole the cult thing, because my mom actually came to me and I was talking about type. She's like, "You in a cult, bro?" I'm like,
"Oh, the cult thing. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I had never thought about it that way. I mean, because you hear about people talking about a cult, and I mean, they're just freaking,
Yeah.
But I happened to be particularly high this night when my mom started telling me about how I was in a cult.
Yeah.
So I observed her latched onto it just a little too hard. I'm like, am I in a cult? I'm like, we gotta come at it from a place of balance, but we definitely can't say it's all culty or all non-culty. Like there's
Right.
cult-like aspects, and it could be far worse. So I mean, it all goes back to the take it with a grain of salt. Like when I was talking
Hmm.
about the retypings, and everyone's like they're putting all their stock on this, and
Yeah.
they don't give it room for flaws or anything or any understanding. It's like, well, you are in this community. Everyone's like in a bubble. It's an echo chamber, really. You
Yeah.
know, it's an echo
Yeah.
chamber. So of course, there's going to be cult-like aspects, and I say whether it's the cult aspect, the putting too much stock in your typing aspect, or whatever, just give this stuff some room. Like, come up for air, because
Yeah.
we are underwater here. This is the best
Hmm.
analogy I can use. We're suffocating in this stuff half the time, which
Mm.
usually is a good thing. Like we're trying to swim, we're trying to have a good time and just we're at the beach. That's what we come to typology for. But I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of us are drowning right now, and I hate to see people struggle. You got to understand how much of a threat you are. Like I was saying, don't
Mm.
drown in typology. If you know you're prone to go cycle over this, find a way to come up for air, and don't just think it's hopeless. Because I had this point where I was like, oh, how am I ever going to get OP out of my head? I think about it 24/7. I mean, I
Mm.
still do, but it's not something to be feared. It's like if you go hang out with communities that don't know OP, you will probably type them in your head, and you will probably have that in your head. But you'll
Right.
also notice that they have their own language, they have their own code, they have like they're a cult in a way. Go hang out
Right.
with other communities. So go get yourself involved in some other cults, and then maybe you'll still have cult mindset from OP, but you won't be tweaking. So
Right, 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 right. Now what it's almost like it's like everything could be a cult. I did do the bite model sort of analysis at one point on OP, and it's not terrible, like you said. But what advice, like how would you come up for air? Like actually how do you come up for air? Just go find other groups is what you're saying, is how to come up for air.
that's what I think. That's what I think. If
Yeah.
you find a place of belonging, like sometimes just hanging out with the family. People they'll see their family for Christmas, maybe
Mm,
Thanksgiving, But
yeah.
I made an effort start calling my folks every once in a while, and
Mm,
they they don't know OP. So here's how you really know if the cult mentality has strangulated you, and if you're
okay.
drowning and suffocating. If you
Yeah.
can't use English to describe, if you don't,
Yeah.
I'm telling like I got a friend. If I type him as DI, am I gonna say, hey bro, I think
Yeah.
you're a DI? That's not gonna mean shit to me. Now you sound
Right.
like you're in a cult. But if I say,
Right.
hey bro, you've been a little selfish lately. You're thinking about yourself more than others. All right, that's
Mhm.
clear English. Everyone can understand that. So
Right.
that's how you come up for air is try to get back integrated into like you're in this bubble of a community.
Yeah.
Step out, integrate back into normalcy without sounding like a lunatic. I mean, that's easy for me. I'm an observer, but
Right.
you get some
How
air.
how difficult is it for you though, like when you're talking with people in the community to like not use the shorthand? Like have you ever tried doing that, having a conversation with someone in the community and not use OP terms? It's
Oh yeah,
hard for me to
it
do.
is. I pretty much if someone's in the community with me, I'll do
Mhm.
50-50 because
Mm.
I used to just use 100% straight up type talk.
Mhm.
The reason I got humbled is because I don't really know. I ain't no expert typer. So if I'm every
Mm.
sentence using type, I'm like, oh, my DI did. It's like, well, that slow down. It might not have been your DI. It might have been the fact that you're a feeler. It might have been
Right.
this. So I had to kind of like reel it in on that level. Now I use 50-50 more so when I'm really certain, like, oh, this is the part that's causing this in my life. I'll bring it up in conversation more. But
Yeah.
if I don't have like a lot of certainty, I'll just pretty much try to use English.
Oh, I bet that's why a lot of the anecdotes get like really solidified because people are like, "Oh, you're blasting, you're blasting, you're blasting," when they're just talking about getting stuff done. And like you had mentioned earlier on, like you're doing a bunch, but for yourself, right? In fact, that's how I saw consume. That's how I finally saw consume last, is because it was just like doing for myself,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? rather than doing for others.
That's what my consume last friend just commented on for me the other day too. So yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Hmm. You can get things done as a consumer or a blaster. It's just how are you doing it? Who are you doing it for? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was fantastic. Oh, wow. I wasn't trying to wrap up, but now it's exactly an hour. Wow,
That's
isn't
the
that
most
like
masculine SI thing I ever seen.
Did you see me? I was about to wrap up.
Literally right.
And then I
No, I'm
looked.
telling you, I've seen it. Right as it was 10000. You said, "Well, this is." Oh, I'm like, masculine SI on lock right there.
I can't help it. I mean, every once in a while when I think maybe I'm feminine, like no, I can't. I can't. I can make my makeup look pretty, but I am not feminine SI.
No, don't put
Um,
yourself down. You look great.
yeah, thanks. Well, thanks for doing this. This was nice, like, dusting off the StreamYard again. This was really fun. Thank you for suggesting doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had
Of
a good time.
course. And I can't wait to watch this and then compare it to something you did earlier on, like you had said, right?
That's
What do you think?
exactly.
Yeah.
I think probably I still did a little bit of too much NE on this, but I mean, I'll never be able to escape that. But at least I conveyed my point to you without doing the A B C D E F G thing as much. I might have been
Yeah.
A B C, but not all the way to G.
Right. Right. Or at least you knew there was that one point where you were like, I'm gonna go. And I was like, yeah, let's do both. Let's do A and B and you did them. You're like, this is A and then there's B.
Right?
Uh,
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
you did
So I
do
feel
it. You give
validated now.
yourself credit, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, think that'll do it. Unless you have any final words for the 3 live people watching and everybody who's going to watch in perpetuity.
Guys, go like and subscribe to Kelly.
Oh,
Make sure you turn the notification bell on and get get notified anytime she's about to go out with a new video.
thanks. Thanks for doing my DI for me. All right.
Anytime.
Thanks, Griff. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.